Dreams are messages from the deep. These introductory words serving as the opening for Denis Villeneuve's Dune are quite fitting, as the manifestation and realization of prescient visions and dreams are the driving force dictating the course and shape of much of the Dune saga. In this video, I'd like to analyze this thought-provoking statement and how it fits into the lore and themes found in Frank Herbert's Dune series. Spoiler warning, as I will be discussing how this line relates to the greater themes and events occurring throughout the Dune series. The framework upon which the vast interstellar imperium of Dune is built is one that relies heavily on the clairvoyance and limited prescience possessed by the Spacing Guild's navigators, who foresee paths through space to make faster-than-light travel safe. For many thousands of years, the steersmen have been able to gain such foresight through the continual consumption of large quantities of the geriatric spice melange. And because the power of the spice has historically played such an integral role in the development of mankind's interstellar empire, it's not surprising that many of the religions and cultures throughout the Imperium would revere and consider sacred the visions and other powers granted by melange. Perhaps the most peculiar aspect of the opening line of Villeneuve's Dune is the fact that it comes from the language of the Emperor Sardaukar in the same throat-singing delivery as is heard later in the blood sacrifice ceremony on Seleucus Secundus. While the Sardaukars certainly have a significant impact in Frank Herbert's first novel, by comparison they have very little to do in the rest of the saga, especially as it relates to the prescient visions and dreams that drive the plot of the subsequent novels. As the product of a long-running breeding and genetics program, the young Paul Atreides possessed a proclivity for clairvoyance even before coming into contact with the spice. Paul's dreams and visions consistently play a major role in the story of the first 3 novels of the Dune saga. That being said, due to the entire Imperium's reliance on the prescience exercised by the Spacing Guild, it makes sense that even those like the Sardaukar who have little knowledge of the capabilities of the Kwisatz Haderach would still be aware of humanity's ability to catch glimpses of possible futures through dreams. In regards to the content of this chant itself, it's not a stretch to believe that the idea of dreams carrying further meaning would be pretty widely accepted. However, to me, the most intriguing part of this line is that these messages come from the deep. This can be interpreted a few different ways. Some have pointed to the deep as a reference to the deep desert of Arrakis, from which the precious spice melange is gathered. Although Paul has visions before arriving on the desert planet, his most vivid dreams are seen only after coming into contact with the spice. But perhaps the most basic and obvious explanation for this statement is that dreams contain messages from the depths of one's own subconscious, and that the subconscious represents one's connection with the cosmos, through which messages can be delivered from across both space and time. This highlights a fundamental philosophy found in Herbert's writings, namely that humanity possesses the ability to expand their mental and physical capabilities, and that this expansion and continual evolution is required in order to avoid the fatal path of stagnation. While many of the spectacular abilities wielded by the influential organizations of the Imperium might at first seem mystical and fantastical in nature, Herbert attempts to make those aspects more believable by grounding them on a foundation of scientific fact and theory. In describing Paul's visions, the author references the Heisenberg uncertainty principle when explaining the limits of prescience. This principle establishes the impossibility of the measurement of both an object's position and velocity at the same time, which helps the reader to understand the ever-changing nature of prescient dreams and visions, and that the expenditure of energy that revealed what Paul sees in the future itself could in fact alter that very future. This means that inside his spice dreams, the smallest of actions, the wink of an eye, a careless word, a misplaced grain of sand, could theoretically snowball and avalanche, causing a mass shift in the universe. To be able to navigate this kind of expansion of one's consciousness, would certainly require a very special individual with the ability to accurately interpret, calculate, and manipulate the future. As the Kwisatz Haderach, Paul gained access to the unfathomable treasure trove of genetic knowledge and wisdom through the memories of his ancestors, serving as a key source of data as he attempted to bridge time and space. It's not a surprise to many that one could easily lose themselves in exploring such visions, losing touch with reality as they dreamwalked endlessly forward and backward in time. Consequently, Paul recognized the need to also maintain a firm grasp on his awareness of the present. He refers to this as a trinocular vision, with the one-eyed vision of the past, the one-eyed vision of the present, and the one-eyed vision of the future. This underscores the delicate balance required to successfully navigate prescience. While the opening line of Villeneuve's film helps the audience to more fully understand the mystique and significance of Paul's dreams, a later line in the film stands in stark contrast to this statement and emphasizes the need for trinocular vision. After an extended absence, the young Paul Atreides reunites with his dear friend and mentor Duncan Idaho, who is busy preparing for the arrival of House Atreides to Arrakis. It is here that he confides in Duncan about the dreams he has been having of a certain Fremen girl, as well as visions of Duncan living among the Fremen and his tragic death in battle. These dreams are quite troubling to Paul, and as the events of the book and movie play out, these visions actually do come to pass. Upon hearing about Paul's dreams, Duncan lightheartedly views them as a good omen for his future mission to make contact with the Fremen, as a part of Duke Leto's plan to take advantage of their desert power. But regarding Paul's visions of Duncan being slain in battle, Duncan defiantly retorts that he won't die, and that dreams make good stories, but everything important happens when we're awake, because that's when we make things happen. This statement highlights a vital aspect of Paul's prescience, his need to keep one eye fixed on the here and now, on reality. Although he is not an Atreides himself, Duncan in many ways embodies that which made the Atreides so popular in the Landsraad, and the hallmark characteristics and traits that earned House Atreides the loyalty of some of the most notable figures in the Imperium. Although Paul eventually relinquishes the opportunity he has to guide humanity to its survival, he continues to value Duncan's advice and his undying sense of morality and practicality. In the same way, Paul's son Leto II, who would go on to become the God Emperor, recognized Duncan's value. Consequently, he saw to it that a Ghola copy of the Atreides Swordmaster was kept by his side as a baseline for what humanity should be. As the God Emperor tyrannically guided the known universe along the Golden Path, Duncan Idaho would serve as a benchmark, keeping Leto grounded in reality as he walked endlessly into the past and the future. An interesting theory regarding the opening statement of Dune Part 1 is that it could be the voice of the God Emperor himself as he looks back in his genetic memory and replays the events of Dune. While the voice is confirmed to be spoken in the language of the Sardaukar, it's not outside the realm of possibility for Leto to have access to the Sardaukar's history through his own lineage. Interestingly, after being defeated by Paul Atreides, it is noted in Children of Dune that some of the older Sardaukar had increasingly started playing the dream interpretation game, indicating yet another link and correlation between the religion of the Sardaukar and the rise of the supreme dreamer, Muad'Dib. As I've explored previously in a lore video about the religion of the Sardaukar, these warrior fanatics have a shared history with the Fremen, as the Sardaukar homeworld was a stop on the pilgrimage of the wandering Zensunni, whose journey ended on Arrakis. So to me, it wouldn't be surprising to find some overlap in their respective religions, attributing a spiritual significance to visions and dreams. Ultimately, the dream statements found throughout Villeneuve's film highlight the fundamental aspects of prescience and set the stage for the crucial role that prescient visions would continue to play as the Dune saga unfolds. But I'm curious to know what you think of the inclusion of this line to open Villeneuve's film. Do you think it does a good job at setting the stage for the introduction of the core themes of the Dune saga? Are there any theories you have regarding who the speaker of this line may be? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.